So we've looked at the pigments that are in the world around us. Now we're going to extract some pigments from some really bright, colourful flowers. So the idea there is you go and collect your flowers, as you saw. We want some flowers, we want a pot, oven. You're going to need some paper, some of your art paper or some of that watercolour paper. The absorbent one's quite good. Might need a pencil, scissors and some bowls, and some sort of space where you can put these to cool down and where you can dry these samples that you're going to make, these pigment samples you're going to make in the dark. We don't want the light to affect them. Right, let's start. We're going to have about a cup of water in here, and we're going to take our flower, this one here, I've got this is the hydrangea, and I'm just going to put the petals in. How much do you use? Well, about, if it's bulky, about a litre full, but if they're quite dense like fruits and that, then sort of like half a cup to a cup. You don't want too much. And you don't want the green stuff on it, or the stalky stuff. We just want the flower or the fruit that is carrying that pigment. And then on the oven, and you're going to cook it. You will need a sieve because we want to separate out that liquid which is going to have the extracted pigment in it from the bits and pieces, and just keep the liquid. So we're just going to do that. You're going to have to do one at a time. Maybe a wooden spoon would be pretty handy, so you can give it a bit of a stir and make sure it is there. It doesn't hurt if you wanted to beforehand, if you have a mortar and pestle, say for example here I've got this prairie, then to bruise those petals or bruise the fruit beforehand, and that will make it easier for you to extract the pigment. So just do a little bit of crushing and bruising first. You can experiment which ones work better with just cooking, and which ones like a bit of bruising first. Often the skins of fruit, if the pigment's carried in the skin, say for rose hips or blueberries, things like that, then a bruising is really a good idea. Just bring it to the boil and maybe simmer it for 2 or 3 minutes. Don't overdo it. You should start to see the pigment come out in the water. And once you've done that, you're ready to sieve it and put it in your cool place for cooling down. Okay. Well, we've made lots of pigment solutions with just water and our flowers and fruit, but there's a whole lot of other things you can use too. Coffee, tea, seaweed, turmeric, spices. Just try something out, try it all out. With these, we're extracting with alcohol, which is a bit different from the water. Alcohol will extract turmeric and coffee a lot better. Now we don't want to make too much of a mess. We've got to filter it afterwards. The simplest and easiest and cheapest filter is a bit of tissue paper. We'll show you that in a minute.
and we can make our anthotypes paper, our pigmented paper from those. I'm just going to cut some pieces of our watercolour paper for absorbing the pigment into the plates that we've got. Got to be careful here, turmeric stains quite a lot, so just have to be careful. I'm just putting my filter tissue papers on top, and doesn't really matter about amounts too much, you know. You can play around how much you want to use, how strong you make it, and the alcohol, of course, can be your vodka, as it were, or it can be alcohol, rubbing alcohol, or some alcohol from the pharmacy. You can get alcohol also from your antiseptic sprays you've got. Wow, look at that one. That's that red seaweed. We're getting those incredible greeny pigments out of there. And here's our turmeric, which is quite bright. And then we just can pick up our filters. I haven't got too much liquid there. Squeeze it out a little bit. You might want to, without breaking it, bursting the bubbles, as it were. Quite enough. Dab it out. Cost tea is easy. Could be a stronger pot of tea there, couldn't it? Might want to just check. Maybe one piece of paper at a time might be better if it's just thick. This is particularly thick paper. Beautiful green there, doesn't it? Beautiful, beautiful green. This is the one we have to be careful with. Don't get too stained here. Whoa, look at that beautiful golden colour. I'm going to get a wee bit on my fingers, aren't I? And now we're going to dry them in the dark. We've got our pigment solutions, and they would be normally in the dark, but to make our papers come through and have a look, we're going to just soak the paper in that pigment water. And what you'll find is they need multiple soaking. Oh, look at that beautiful golden kowhai colour. Oh, that's going to be amazing. Lovely, lovely, lovely rosehip. Now, blueberry is a rich, dark ruby red, and then that delicate mellow. It's hot. I don't care if it could cool down a bit, but it's all right. But you'll find that you need to do this probably 3 or 4 times, and each time you get a bit more of that pigment in the card. You could leave it sitting and soaking, but I'm going to do just multiple dips, and then possibly the last one leave it a bit longer, because you don't notice it, do you, first time round? But as you repeat this, well, that's picked up quite well. But as you repeat this, you'll find that it picks up more and more, gets richer and richer. And so there we go. And then after you've done it 4 times, you're going to have to peg it up in the dark and let them dry.